Welcome to the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. There is so much noise on the interweb these days about what women should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to their fitness and health. Not only is it all too often tied to shame and fixing our bodies, it can also be incredibly detrimental to our health and wellness overall. The Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast sorts through the BS and offers advice and actionable, tactile steps to support and build a better relationship to your amazing body through every stage of womanhood. It aims to break the cycle of keeping women in the dark about their extraordinary machines and revolutionize the way we move, eat, and live so that our daughters and our daughters' daughters look in the mirror and feel exactly what they are: fierce, beautiful, and capable of everything. The revolution starts here. Hello, and welcome to the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Today, we are talking all about how to get yourself working out when it has been a minute. / maybe you've never worked out before and you just can't seem to get yourself into the gym no matter what you do. I will be straight up. I definitely started this topic thinking that it would be just like a flash in the pan, quick yep, finally. But alas, buckle up, baby, because this is apparently just who she is. And I also want to say, though I'm starting off goofy, that today's episode is going to feel more tough-lovey than my usual episodes because the truth of the matter is change is freaking hard. And as a coach, it is my job to not sugarcoat this because your health, your life, your overall wellness is on the line with this one. So I just want that out in the open. If you ever feel uncomfortable, you are in control of that dial. You turn it off, take what works, leave what doesn't. Your body, your rules. I love and support you no matter what. So why? Why is this such a big deal, right? Why does it even matter if we start working out? I mean, really. So on a walk, I think it was yesterday. Anyway, we were out on a walk. It was a small one. We heard two people walking by and they were joking about how one of them had gotten tricked into a workout. And she was like, "Oh, I got tricked into this workout. And I'll tell you what, I would have rather just died." And it really struck a chord for me. One, how many people truly think they hate working out? They just have decided without really ever doing it that they hate working out. And I think that wraps into a larger topic, which I've talked about a lot and that I'm not going to spend too much time on, which is we need to rewire the way we think about exercise from being the super hard thing. But also it really hit because the irony is that almost every single cause of disease or modern cause of death / decrease in your quality of life, talking obesity, heart disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, infertility, etc., can be avoided through lifestyle. And exercise is a major factor in this. So saying I'd rather have died was one of those things where it was like, LOL, that's a funny joke. And also not LOL. That is why so many of us are getting sick. So I want to start out today's episode by just challenging us. I want us to change thinking about exercise from thinking about it as a hobby for fit people who like to torture themselves or are overly focused on changing their body to what it really is. And what it really is when we move our body is preventative health care. Period. End. Last week, an amazing woman came into our gym and she was super nervous and she had a story that is similar to a lot of stories that I hear when people come into a studio. We sat down and she told me how she never considered herself a fitness person. She said, "I'm not a fitness person." She had heard about our gym from a friend about 5 years ago, and her friend loved it, but she never even looked into it because it just wasn't her thing, working out. She was young. She's about my age. So I think she was 37, 38, has young kids at home, and just the week prior had been told by her doctor that she was pre-diabetic and on a fast track towards type 2 diabetes if she didn't make some major life changes soon. Now, not only is resistance training and increased daily movement one of the best lifestyle implementations we can use for reversing that diagnosis, one of the coolest things, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think in the world, is that studies have now shown that exercise in conjunction with other lifestyle adjustments can reverse type 2 diabetes. Reverse. We're talking like dial it back. The unfortunate truth about this whole situation is that the further into the disease state that we go, the harder it can feel to get started just because of energy, chronic pain, hopelessness, and the longer it can take to actually get out of that disease state just because we've progressed so far into it. But the light at the end of the tunnel is that you can. I cannot tell you how proud of this woman I am. It actually makes me really want to cry, right? Because after a couple of false starts within the week, she'd sign up for class, she didn't come. She'd try again. She'd sign up for class, she didn't come. She tried again. Finally, she got in. She had serious doubt about being able to fit in her workouts. She has 7 kids at home, y'all. 7 kids. And she finally got in. She worked out and she signed up for her 6-month commitment to herself. And she's already booked her classes out for the week. And I'm not saying that now it's going to be sunshine and roses, like this is where the work starts. But boy, oh boy, did she make that hard decision to prioritize her future over the discomfort of right now. And like I said, it just makes me want to cry. I just love people showing up for themselves. She has taken the first major step towards taking back her health, solidifying that future of energy and vitality. And she's setting an example for her kids that prioritizing her health is essential. She is a baddie, and I am just so honored to watch this journey. And before we go in, obviously, I want to say that I am not a physician, so everything I share with you today is as a coach who wants to help provide you with coaching tools to take your first baby steps towards saving your life, getting into the gym. The first thing I want to do to help coach you into taking these preventative healthcare movement measures is to remind you that first steps look different for everyone, right? Depends on where you're getting started from, depends on who you are, and remember, a little can go a really long way. Eventually, we do all need to be resistance training. Between the impact it has on our muscles and bones as we age and the regulatory effect it has on stabilizing our blood sugar, just to name 2 out of the many benefits, it really is a non-negotiable. It just, some point in our life, we got to get on the bandwagon. But that being said, I do not want that to deter you from getting started. I'm not asking you to just run on over to your local Plantain Fitness and start tossing around those 50-pound dumbbells, right? I just simply want you to have that in your mind as the destination, where today I just want you to get up and add steps, right? Maybe right now, if it's safe, you get up and you listen to this podcast and you just do a couple laps around your living room. Boom. So maybe starting out, what it really looks like is just focusing on walking more. What is more? Depends on who you are, right? Next month, maybe we add in 2 30-minute body weight sessions. Month after that, you can add in light weights. Following months, you keep growing, whether it's duration of workouts per week. Maybe we start to adding in weights, working on that progressive overload. I know it is easier said than done, and that simplified it way too much. But the point is, please do not hold yourself back from starting because you're so focused on the intimidation or inaccessibility of that finish line, right? There is no finish line. This is life, baby. I would much rather have you just walk for a year than ever, that without even like touching a weight, than not get started at all because it feels like it's just undoable. The point of today, though, despite what it might seem like, is not to convince you that you need strength training. Although hopefully, if you do fall into the category of someone who thinks fitness just isn't for me, with love, I want to challenge that to mean probably fitness could benefit you more than you could even imagine. Today, we're going to talk about how to get you into the gym, or at least start the beginning of a routine so that in 30 years, 10 years, 2 years from now, you are fully autonomous, you're unreliant on medications, and you're sharp as a tack cognitively. Not to mention operating at a level where you feel a zest for life, right? Where you can hop on a plane and scale a mountain without getting a sore back or hurting your knees, having a heart attack, or even just running out of breath. Life gets easier when we live it healthily. Maybe it's been a while since we've worked out. Maybe it's been a very long while. And maybe, like the woman I spoke to earlier this week, you've never worked out before. Amazing. I just want to take a pause right here and say that I am so freaking proud of you for pressing play on this podcast, because that willingness to even listen about how to get started is a gift that already sets you ahead of the curve. So please take a moment to just give yourself mad props, mad gratitude, amazing work. It takes serious courage to seek out something new. And let's be real, serious courage to seek out something that can feel intimidating and even scary. In the last 11-ish years that I've been in the fitness world, I have heard every objection in the book for not getting started. I'm not ready right now. I don't have time. It's too expensive. I'll have to think about it. I'll have more time when the kids are older. I need to lose a little weight first. I'm not fit enough. I'm in too much pain to get started. I'm taking care of my dad. He just fell. School is crazy right now. Work is really busy. I'll have more time in the summer. I'll have more time in the winter. I'll have more time later. So let's get started with that tough love, right? Take a quick look at one of the most common objections, not excuses, by the way, just objections that we tell ourselves. The most common objection I get generally when someone is on the precipice of strength training / carving out time to move their body is, I'm just too busy right now. Girl, heard. And hell yeah, you are. Life is full. But if you are waiting for life to slow down, if you are waiting to feel less busy, let's face it, that is never going to happen. When was the last time you didn't feel busy? And devil's advocate, if you just named a time that you were less busy, first of all, amazing. I love that for you. Did you use it to fit in exercise? The point is, we probably will never feel less busy, right? And even on our days off, the idea of working out, if it's not already a part of our life, is probably going to feel less enticing than just about insert 1,000 million things here that include dishes, laundry, and walking barefoot over hot coals, because that's over in like 4 minutes. We aren't going to magically get an extra hour in our day where we suddenly feel motivated to work out. We have to intentionally create time in our lives. And yeah, it is going to feel hard and it's going to look really impossible at the beginning. But think of all the things that you are fitting in right now. I'm not asking for hours in your day. I'm not even asking for a lot of hours in your week. I'm asking you to sit down and realistically find 2 to 3 60-minute slots in your week right now that you can fit movement in. And yes, you can. Again, maybe not comfortably, but yes, if that truly feels too hard, totally fine. Start with 3 30-minute, 20-minute, or even 10-minute sessions, but start. We have to carve time. Just like you're able to make time in your impossibly busy week for when doctor's appointments pop up, when kids have sporting events, or suddenly have to go get dropped off at a friend's house or picked up, when you have dinner with friends, when you have time to Netflix, find time. I'm not kidding. Go ahead and pause me right now. I want you to find time to move your body. And it can be different from week to week. It probably will be. My job hours are literally all over the place, so my workout times are different every single week. Do not let perfect get in the way of good enough. Because here's the deal. It's going to take work. It's probably going to feel like pulling teeth. And when you start doing this, your first couple of weeks of fitting in these 20 to 60-minute sessions, you're going to feel tired. It might even feel like, is this going to be worth it? And I don't want you killing yourself. Again, remember, we're rewriting the way we're thinking about exercise. But when we add new things, it's going to feel uncomfortable. They don't call them growing pains for nothing. Like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat this today. It takes work on your part. Like any amazing thing, you need to get uncomfortable before it becomes a habit. And the harder truth, nobody out here is going to do it for us. We have to make that hard choice for ourselves. You may be sitting there listening to me and saying to yourself, Kinsey, I hear you. I love this theoretically. I have been trying, maybe for years, and still I have not been able to change this. Nothing has changed. So in an attempt to keep this slightly shorter, and just because I don't want to give you too much, because I really want you to focus on this one thing, I'm going to wrap up with a little game for us. It's called the What If Game. I know, sit down. That was a pretty good title. Don't worry, I'm workshopping it. My mindset coach, Brad Bizjack, really turned me on to this one. And we talked a little bit about it, I think, in our New Year resolution podcast. But why, seriously, why do we as humans stay in habits that will, with time, quite literally kill us or make our lives just full stop miserable? And it's because we're creatures of comfort. Even if we're uncomfortable now, we're probably not quite to that level of discomfort, you know? Making change is arguably one of the most uncomfortable things we can force ourselves to do. And if the juice doesn't have the emotional squeeze attached, it is impossible for most of us, myself very much included, to see it through to the other side. We have to make the discomfort of staying the same outweigh the discomfort of change. Enter the what if game. We ask ourselves honestly, and being honest with ourselves is hard. It is really scary. I'm not asking you, by the way, to have a beat up party on your wonderful self. I'm just asking you to be an explorer, right? I want you to gather true, hard information so we can be armed with the tools we need to change. Because if we can't see what's standing in our way, if we can't be honest with ourselves about where our current choices are leading us with our health, how can we change them? / why would we want to? Before we jump into this hypothetical, a lot of these thoughts and emotions that I'm going to express are things that I have felt myself when I've played my own what if game. And yes, I am a mover and a shaker when it comes to fitness. Although I will say I still very much need to remind myself why I work out a lot of the time and make healthy choices. But I also have my own versions of things that maybe you don't struggle with as much. One of the biggest obstacles for me that I've overcome and am still literally working on every single day that would have probably had me dead by 50 was getting sober, right? I was on a fast track to an early death. And if that wasn't the most uncomfortable, hardest amount of work, and to this day, daily practice, I don't know what is. And day to day, I still very much, I think I've talked about it plenty on the podcast, struggle and have to do self-audits with workaholism. I will humbly admit that while my exercise and nutrition have found their way, and sobriety even, into my daily without even thinking about it, my workaholism has led to reoccurring health issues for years, including very recently. And I'm constantly forced to address it and find balance with it. And you know what? Luckily, I've had practice with other things, so I know how to do it, but it is practice over time, not perfection. So as always, nothing on this podcast is built to shame. I'm simply offering a path to freedom and health and to the full life you deserve. And in this case, this has been a tool that's been really helpful for both countless clients and myself in literally saving our lives. So, what do you say? Shall we what if? So what if I don't start moving my body today? What if I don't go to the gym today? Let's start small. How will I feel tomorrow? I'll feel disappointed in myself. I'll feel discouraged. I'll feel tired and resentful of myself and others. I'll feel brain foggy. I'll feel that chronic pain. I'll feel sick. I'll wake up and I'll look in the mirror and I'll be disgusted with myself. I'll feel weak. I'll feel stuck. I'll feel angry. I'll feel annoyed. I'll feel disheartened. This, again, these are things that I have felt myself, and that when I've done this practice with clients have been words that have come up for them. Maybe you have similar ones. Maybe you have different ones. Literally write down, what if I don't go to the gym today? How will I feel tomorrow? Next up, how will I feel in 6 months if I don't go to the gym today? I will feel like I have gained more weight. I will feel like I have further to go. I will feel sicker. I will feel more pain throughout my entire body. I will feel ashamed. I will feel uncomfortable in my clothes and worse, in my skin. I will stop sleeping well, and I will wake up exhausted even when I've been in bed for 8 to 12 hours. I will be getting sick easier. I will have less and less energy to be with my family. I will have shorter and shorter temper. I will have no libido. I will have terrible cramps. I will have anxiety. Again, just things that have come up for some of my clients. If you want to share things that have come up for you, please feel free to send them to me. It's sometimes nice just to get them into the world. All right, macro. What if I do not go into the gym today? How will I feel in 2 years? Again, everyone is unique. For this big one, let's reflect back on the woman that I sat down with this week, or last week, I should say. In 2 years, if she did not take immediate action, 2 years from today, she would have full-fledged type 2 diabetes, would be missing out on energy and quality of life with her children, possibly dying before her children hit major milestones in their own life. She'd be spending upwards of $12,000 annually on her diabetes alone. Side note, the total estimated costs of diagnosed diabetes in the U.S. in 2022 was $412.9 billion, including $306.6 billion in direct medical costs and $106.3 billion in indirect costs attributed to diabetes. It is expensive to be sick. She'll be at risk for heart disease, ocular issues, kidney disease, nerve damage, foot issues, high blood pressure and cholesterol, infertility. The list goes on. And on top of that, would have to work 10 times as hard to get healthier than if she got started today. And I don't know about you. I can't speak for what moves you emotionally, but for me, that's pretty powerful motivation when I think about what's waiting for me down the line if I don't make that change today. That to me is that emotional charge that I need to get up and moving. It is not shameful, by the way. It is simply the trajectory of health in a society that promotes sedentary lifestyle and doesn't provide adequate education and access to health promoting nutrition. So the other big takeaway is this isn't immediate, right? We don't just suddenly wake up and we're like, great, I've spent 8 years trying to get to the gym and I did one game and now I'm going to the gym. It takes time, right? Even if this what if game doesn't get you into the gym today, once we ring the bell of what's to come, I've learned this firsthand, it's impossible to unring. In AA, we have a phrase about what happens when people relapse. They say, you have a belly full of booze and a head full of AA. You don't forget everything you learned when you got sober just because you're drunk again. When we educate ourselves about the importance of our health and the important role of physical activity, it's hard not to have that in the back of our mind every time we're taking actions that are contrary to our health. And again, there's no shame, right? But these are behaviors that we've repeated for the majority of our lives. So it's going to take time to sort of unwind these learned behaviors and start to replace them with new behaviors. Let yourself get uncomfortable. Think of discomfort as a gift. Challenge yourself to make the discomfort of living a life of disease more uncomfortable than daily walks. Make a life of living with chronic illness more uncomfortable than 3 workouts a week. Make a life where you die before your daughter gets married more uncomfortable than thinking about starting to lift weights. Really feel it. Feel yourself lose access to vitality. to being able to be with your children, to going on those trips in retirement that you've worked so hard for and you've always dreamt of, to feel putting yourself in the shoes of your loved ones when you are struggling with Alzheimer's. And then remember that you don't have to do this perfectly. If you get started today, if getting started today means putting down this podcast and doing a couple of laps around your living room, you are already taking incredible steps towards saving your life. And I cannot say this enough. You and your body and your life are so freaking worth it. It is why I end every podcast with that phrase. It takes work. It takes getting uncomfortable. It takes changing the way we do things, and it is worth it. You are worth it. Oh, my beautiful humans. I know that we did tough love today, and I truly is only because I care so freaking deeply about you and your health, and I have learned firsthand from having my own life saved that easy is not a part of it. It takes work. It takes getting uncomfortable. It takes accountability for our actions. It takes small daily practice. And it takes us. No one is going to save us but us. You are the only one who can do this work. And you're so freaking worth it. All right. Until next time. Aroo!